This week on Hops, we head out to the village of Ada, where you can find Gravel Bottom Craft Brewery. Owner Matthew Michaels sits down with me to sample and chat about 3 uniquely named brews to this West Michigan tap room. Featured today, Kevin the Bold Imperial Stout, the Damn Good IPA, and the Bucketfoot Black IPA. We're at it again, folks, with this installment of Hops with Hey Luke. Up first, Kevin the Bold Imperial Stout.
The name comes from a local artist here in Ada who designed a really popular comic book or comic series back, I think it was in the 50s. So we caught wind of that, and just to tie things back to our community, we decided to call this one Kevin the Bold. Kind of matches the beer, and it brings a little bit of our history of Ada into the brew house.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Social distance cheers.
Yeah, right.
Bold is right.
Yeah. And you'll notice in this, obviously it's got your really dark, roasty characters to it. You notice the head on it's a little bit darker in color. You got a little bit of, as it's unfolding on your tongue, you're getting a little bit of that rich caramely flavor that's coming out of that too.
Second, we have the Damn Good IPA. And you mentioned this is like a West Coast IPA.
Yep.
What is, describe that a little bit.
They're typically really bold in their hops. You'll find that they're going to be on the citrus and fruity side, hop characters wise. This one here particularly really accentuates your citrus-based hops versus the more fruity-based hops, and it's quite dry. It's fully attenuated. You'll find it's really clean on the tongue, even though you got that big punch of hops.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
You can tell as soon as you take that sip, that aroma is sitting in the top of that glass. They've been sitting here for a minute, but as you're taking that sip, you're getting a lot of the aromas as well. It's part of the experience.
And the name, where'd you come up with that one?
So Damn Good. This was, early on when we first moved into, or opened up here in Ada. The town's been going through a lot of change and development in the last few years, and we really wanted to come up with a festival, a beer festival, something to bring people out here and say this is a destination, and it's called Beers at the Bridge. We do 3 of them a year now. But we put it out to the public, and we said, hey, so we did a naming contest for this IPA that we brewed for that event. Now it's become our most popular beer. I don't know if it's because of the event or how wonderful the beer is, or maybe both.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so that's kind of, and so they came up with the name Damn Good, and it just made a lot of sense because right where we have that festival is our dam here in Ada.
And lastly, coming in with one of the most unique stories I've heard so far, the Bucketfoot.
This is a beer I brewed for myself, and I like big, bold, multi flavors and a lot of hops. But when we first opened up, you got to understand first, I think I had $69 left in my bank account. So every batch of beer is payroll, and that's really important for this story because about the 4th time we were brewing this batch, it was one of our biggest sellers. But I came in with my socks and sandals on, and I got my socks wet. So I didn't want to put my boots on, so I kind of brewed in my sandals and socks, which is not a good idea for all those future brewers out there. But I got through the whole brew day, and we got a filter clogged. And this is the beer sitting at, or the wort is sitting at 212 degrees boiling. This filter gets clogged, so I pulled the filter off and I tipped it, and I poured about a half a gallon of essentially boiling sugar water onto my foot, which was excruciatingly painful. But at that point, I'd put all the money, all the time into this beer. We're at the very final stage. If I walked away and went to the ER or whatever, I would have lost that batch of beer. So I went in the back where we were chilling water down for our knockout to cool the beer off, and I filled up a pail of, I think it was 34-degree water. And I shoved my foot in that, and I drug that pail around for the next 2 hours to finish this beer so that we could get it in and serve it.
And then the name was born.
And then, yeah, the next day I came in, or a couple days later I came in, I said, we're going to name this beer Bucketfoot now. And the staff was like, oh, we don't want foot in the name of our beer. And I was like, no, we're going to name that Bucketfoot.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers.
Yeah, multi flavor for sure.
Yeah, but you're going to also have that punch of that hops in there. And you're going to notice, opposed to the hops, like in this one was that citrus based. This is more of the piney end of the hop spectrum.
Nice.
And that was one of the things as I was designing this beer. It was designed to be a black IPA. It wasn't like an IPA that we added roast malt to. So, you know, just in that design process, you know, we just felt like those pinier hops really lent themselves better to the dark roasted malt and that backbone of the beer.
For more on hops and next week's episode, head over to woodtv.com and click the Watch tab.